10.
I got you with my winning smile. I'm a living lesson in flaring style. Just can't help but stare at myself while fair. I do Deco, Roman, Greco, Rococo, Baroque, bebop, hip-hop, flip-flop. Somebody stop me!
Hey everybody, and welcome back to What the Hell Happened to Them? A title fight is brewing. That's right, this season, Eddie Murphy versus Jim Carrey. I am your host, Patrick Skeyhill, and joining me on the line is somebody who wants you to stop him, Joe Vekeman.
Somebody stop me?
Yes. And on the audio boards is Lev Van Rensselaer, reminding me to remind you that you can email the cast at whathappenedtothemcast@gmail.com. And our sponsor this week is Cleany Boppers. Tired of smelly teens stanking up your house, burying you in laundry? Then give them a bop with Cleany Boppers. Patent pending.
Give them a bop? All right.
Yeah, it did feel like that ad read raised more questions than it answered, but
absolutely.
That's what I've got.
Give them a bop.
Yes, Joe, what movie are we doing this week?
Moving along. We watched Chuck Russell's 1994 The Mask.
And what happens in this movie? The Mask?
The Mask. Bank clerk Stanley Ipkiss is transformed into a manic superhero when he wears a mysterious mask. Smokin'.
All right, and before we get into the episode proper, I just want to take a little time here to say that our audio perhaps has been a little uneven the last couple episodes. We're sorry for that. Both Joe and I have been trying out new microphone/recording setups. I myself am using brand new mic setup as of now, just to try to help clean up our audio a little more than we have been. So that's what's happening at the moment. If there are some hiccups in audio here or there during this process, we appreciate your understanding. Now, with that being said, Joe, who's the better Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds or Jim Carrey?
Huh. I never thought of that. That's a good observation. I would take Jim Carrey over any Ryan Reynolds vehicle.
Yes, I as well. Yeah. I put him in other Ryan Reynolds movies, like The Proposal, starring Jim Carrey and Sandra Bullock.
Hey, that's pretty okay, I think.
I would watch that film, yeah. What else was Ryan Reynolds done? Jim Carrey in Van Wilder?
I mean, he's a little old at that time, but we'll go with it. It's kind of creepy that he's doing that, but...
A little creepy.
But, I mean,
Jim Carrey is the shape. Green Lantern.
I mean, I don't think that works for anybody.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Jim Carrey as... in one of those rock vehicles, like the Red One.
I haven't seen Red One yet.
No, not Red One. What? No, the Red Notice.
Red
See, they're
Notice.
all the same. They're all the same.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, Reynolds is in that. He has like a 35-minute cameo in that.
Yeah. Jim Carrey could do that. He could make a Thomas Hobbs and John Locke joke. It could be done.
Does Ryan Reynolds show up in Jungle Cruise? He has to, right?
You know, I legitimately have no recollection. It's very nice, actually. I'm glad I do not remember that movie.
I'm sure he has some kind of voice in it or something. They're just such best friends. Do you know who I wish The Rock was more best friends with than Ryan Reynolds? Danny DeVito.
Adam Sandler. Danny DeVito's good too.
Sure. Danny DeVito he's a great sidekick.
He's hanging out with Arnie. Do they still hang out? Do they be like, yeah, we're brothers. Gotcha.
Well, they're the famed, like, it's never going to happen, but everyone, like, is trying to get it made in Hollywood as triplets.
So that you could put The Rock in that.
Well, they were going to have Eddie Murphy.
Hey, there you go.
I believe that's what the case was.
Now, that's a movie I'd watch.
It'd be fun. Kind of.
What's the other one?
Which one?
What's the other twins?
The other twin? Yeah. Eddie Murphy, Schwarzenegger, and DeVito.
No. Another Schwarzenegger DeVito thing. What's that one?
Oh.
The other twins.
Junior. When they're having the baby.
Yeah.
Hey.
What would Junior 2 be? The third? You just call it the third?
Sure.
Yeah. Because now they're the grandparents.
Yeah. Who's who's having the baby now?
Yeah.
Who's the experiment on now?
I guess Eddie Murphy. I don't know.
Oh, so we're just going to rope him into it too?
Yeah. You might as well.
That's fun.
All right, well, The Mask, yes.
Wow, let's talk about this crazy. So the budget on this, 18 to 23 million. That seems normal for
Seems
all
reasonable
those.
for a movie that really wanted to be Batman.
I mean, I guess.
It was satirical. It was even the music. Like, it opens up and you're like, are we doing a superhero movie? And then as I was watching, I was like, this is a superhero film. Jim Carrey doing his audition for Batman Forever.
Wow. Good call. Yeah, this was based on The Mask from Dark Horse Comics. The budget, like I said, 18 to 23 million. Just wanted to
So
get
it was based on a comic?
Oh, yeah. The Mask.
Superhero films.
Yeah.
Knew it.
And the box office for this was $351.6 million.
Do you think they would have all been to like, all right, we did the Ace Ventura thing. We're set. And they're like, no, give me more of that.
This is only like 5 months after Ace Ventura. We're like, we need more Carrey.
More. Beverly Hills Cop 3 let us down. Give us more Carrey.
I mean, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
In 1989, Mike Richardson and Tom Moyer, respectively the founder and executive vice president of Dark Horse Comics, first approached New Line Cinema about adapting the comic The Mask into a film after having seen other offers from other studios. The main character went through several transformations and the project was stalled a couple of times. One unused mask idea, according to Richardson, was to transform the story into one about a mask maker who took faces off of corpses to put them on teens and turn them into zombies. Wow!
Is that what the comic's about, or is that just like a weird Hollywood pivot?
I don't know. I've never read the comic, but that sounds kind of interesting.
I mean, think about it, though. This makes sense, right? Like, you've had a very successful Batman movie.
Very successful.
Did the second one already come out yet, or is that?
Yes, but it was less impactful with the box office.
Box office, okay. You have these Superman movies that have done very well for you. Like, and I think there's even a comics boom in the 90s. Mm-hmm. It makes sense that people want to mine any obscure little comic they can.
We are 4 years away from Blade.
Like, we're not even that far off from those Spider-Man, X-Men cartoons that were on Fox, right? Like, we're gonna get a proliferation of superhero stuff soon.
The Batman animated series is already well underway.
Superman, both produced by Spielberg, I think. Mm-hmm. Executive produced, so you know.
Initially intended to become a new horror franchise, New Line Cinema offered the job of directing the film to Chuck Russell. Russell found the violence of the comic to be off-putting and wanted the film to be less grim and adult-oriented and more fun and family-friendly than the source material.
This is sounding like Deadpool.
It is, yeah.
Right? Aggressive violence with this like slapstick, fourth wall breaking humor.
Yeah.
Which one? When did Deadpool come out?
What a great call. Deadpool? I have no idea. I can look that up for you, though.
Well, you read your thing. I'll look it up, I guess.
Oh, okay. Mike Werb says Chuck Russell tapped him after reading his script for Curious George for Imagine. The two decided to turn The Mask into a wild romantic comedy. Mike Werb wrote his first draft of The Mask in less than 6 weeks, and less than 2 months later, it was greenlit.
Okay, all right. So when did this Mask comic start? Do you know that? Okay,
no.
you gotta look that up too.
Okay, I got it right here.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, The Mask started... Oh. It looks like it just started like 1989.
That's not what I have.
What do you have?
I think that is a comic based on the movie. Is my guess.
5 years before the movie came out?
No, you said 1999.
No, 89.
1989.
I'm seeing 89.
I see 87.
87 as Mask, Dark Horse Presents number 10, and as Big Head Mayhem number 1, May 1989.
He's also been known as Mask with a Q and Loki, which they do discuss in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I will say that if he's first appearing in 1987, Deadpool first appears in an X-Men cartoon, or New Mutants, I guess, in 1990.
Wow.
The Deadpool
Rip-off
of The Mask. Take
great.
that, Marvel, you dummies. Though, like, if you were to remake a Mask movie, you could not do an authentic... People don't want that if you're redoing The Mask, right? Like,
No.
this is now The Mask everybody knows.
According to Mark Verheiden, they had a first draft screenplay for a film version done back in 1990. Verheiden then wrote the second draft in early 1991, adding more humor, and that ended up being the only work he did on The Mask. Verheiden's revised draft included more instances of fourth wall breaking like cameos by critics Siskel and Ebert and dark content such as an excessive bloodshed and sexual assault. Wow, yikes.
Like Deadpool.
The characters Stanley, Calloway, and Doyle carried into the final film. Stanley's girlfriend Kathleen, inspired by Kathy from the comics, evolved into Tina Carlisle, while Scully and Vitelli became Dorian Tyrell and Nico, respectively. After that, the film entered development hell. The dance sequence at Coco Bongo was inspired from Red Hot Riding Hood.
Yes, he was watching that in the movie.
In the early stages, various actors were suggested as possibilities for the lead role. Possible leads included, this is so funny, Rick Moranis. Why is he always top? He was already done acting at this point. He was like, I'm good, guys. I'm going to retire. I don't like what I'm getting offered. Can you imagine Rick Moranis in this role? Guys, somebody stop me.
I would like to be stopped, please.
Please. Yeah. My anxiety. Martin Short and Robin Williams. Those two make more sense.
Totally buy that. Yep.
New Line Cinema executive Mike DeLuca sent a tape of Jim Carrey performing a sketch from the comedy show In Living Color to Richardson, who was immediately impressed by the contortionist comedian. Director Chuck Russell had seen Carrey perform live at the Comedy Store and followed him on In Living Color and was keen to cast him in the film. Carrey was top of his list and the script had been rewritten for him, but Nicolas Cage and Matthew Broderick were also kept in consideration. Matthew Broderick, I mean, he's in kind of a similar like wacky cartoon movie a couple of years later in the
Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget. That's what I was thinking with some of the wacky cartoon stuff. Yeah, Godzilla too.
Because that got a cartoon. Men in Black got a cartoon.
Yep. Oh, The Mask got a cartoon.
The Mask got a cartoon.
Ace Ventura got a cartoon.
Ace Ventura got a cartoon. And guess what? His other film this year got a cartoon.
Dumb and Dumber
got a cartoon.
I have no idea that exists. I'm looking it up.
Matthew Broderick, I guess I get the Hollywood, I don't know how I would put this, like blueprint, where they're like, oh yeah, he played Bugs Bunny type character in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He's kind of doing that here. But like way off course from what you're actually trying to do. It's like you're following the letter of the law, but not the spirit of the casting. Who was the other one you said? That one made more sense. Martin Short,
Robin Williams.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We already talked about
Nicolas
those.
Cage.
God,
you really don't like Cage.
That's the Deadpool version. That's what you get there. That guy's shooting people and assaulting people and stealing their dogs.
Jim did things that obviously when he became a superstar he never would do. I remember one night when he was sick as a dog and he was throwing up and he said, "I can't do this." I said, "Look, Jim, they won't let us shut down. If we don't get this, we don't get this." We dragged him out of the trailer and he was a trooper and he got it there delivered and was fantastic. But those are the sort of things that would not have happened when Jim became the superstar that he became. God.
Oh, definitely. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Eddie's not going.
It was producer Bob Enkelman recalled Carrey, "I had the flu during the filming." That was a quote from. Russell's first this is great. Russell's first choice to play Tina had been Anna Nicole Smith. However, she backed out at the last minute to appear in Naked Gun 33 1/3, The Final Insult, instead.
Good choice.
A costume designer he had worked with had been recommending Cameron Diaz, and they got her to audition for the part. The character was originally written as a good girl who was actually bad, but after Diaz was cast, the part was rewritten to make her genuinely a good person. Mike Richardson said to Forbes that Diaz was a great choice. If you watch the film again, you'll notice scenes where Jim and Cameron are together. If you watch her face, oftentimes Jim was doing something, and she would break out laughing the minute the scene ended.
So that's interesting. One, we're introducing Cameron Diaz here, according to the credits.
Yeah.
Brand new. Two, we've now, for our podcast, gotten to hear her sing very well and very poorly.
Do you think she was actually singing? I don't think so.
And three, it did feel like they were setting her up to be the femme fatale. I went basically into this movie fresh because I hadn't seen it since, what did it come out? In 30 years, I have not seen this movie.
Yep.
So, you know, I'm 4 at the time, so I'm not like remembering everything. I'm remembering where he's like getting suspended over the roly things at the newspaper.
Yeah.
And I remember in the dog mask, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, the dog mask.
I'm going in fresh, and it seems like we're setting Cameron Diaz up to be a femme fatale, and we're sending reporter lady up to be like the nice girl. So it felt very much out of nowhere where suddenly Diaz ended up being the good person, and the reporter just suddenly shifted tone completely. So I felt like, I'm like, this must have had a lot of drafts, and like that dynamic was a holdover of a different draft, but then they were stuck with the characters, so they were like, what do we do?
What do we do?
What do we do?
On the television
listen, sorry to interrupt you,
Go
but as
on,
I'm thinking on that thought, I liked Reporter Girl better. That seemed to make more sense to me.
The Kathy character?
Yeah. Is her really name Kathy? Her name's not Kathy.
It was...
Her name's Peggy. Peggy Brandt.
Yes.
Kathy. She's not the middle-aged fat lady from the comics. I liked her, but I don't know. That dynamic made more sense than like the hot blonde bombshell that just fell in love with Jim Carrey for seemingly no reason.
Yeah.
And then she's at the end, she's like, I never liked the mask, I liked the man underneath. And I go, you've had like 2 conversations with the man.
Yeah, exactly. You saw him in jail.
Know. Lazy. All right, so that's my piece on that.
Yeah, that's good.
Roger, Roger, Roger. Roger, 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 Roger. R-O-G-E-R. R-O-G-E-R.
On the television program At the Movies, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert gave the film 2 thumbs up. In his column, Ebert, who was underwhelmed by his performance in Ace Ventura, thought Carrey found a perfect vehicle in the mask. He also praised the art design and called Diaz a true discovery. Siskel, who had a similar dislike for Ace Ventura, praised Carrey's performance in The Mask by stating that he was better used as an ingredient instead of as the plot. He also commended Diaz's performance, and he overall called the film the latest example of technique overriding the written word in an American film. Wow. What a guy. What a guy.
I was not impressed by Diaz here, but I rarely am.
Wow,
so I'm not surprised at that.
He's fine in this.
I was thinking as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, do I like this more than Ace Ventura? I don't know.
Oh, I don't.
I might like some of the... I don't know. I definitely... This film is structured a lot better than Ace Ventura. And the character's more consistent, but it has the advantage of doing a genre thing, so it can kind of hang its hat on a lot of that. And there's like an attempt at subtext and theme and character, like it's a little more unified, where Ace Ventura is kind of like zaniness for the sake of zaniness. But like, I like Billy Madison for that very reason. So why is that working less with the Ace Ventura versus The Mask? I don't know.
One thing The Mask definitely has over Ace Ventura is that it's less offensive somehow, even with all the gun violence in it.
But the gun violence here too is like, it's comical, right? But not in like the Deadpool cynical kind of way. It's cartoony, right? Like that's what
very cartoony.
That's what it's doing, right? And he's even getting shot, and he's doing like an extended monologue, gets an Oscar.
Yep. We see Jim Carrey definitely doing his Elvis impersonation that we've seen before a couple times.
He's doing his Elvis impersonation again. He's doing his Clint Eastwood impersonation again. We've got a couple of Elvis impersonations this season. Even Rob Schneider got in on the Elvis impersonating. Good thing Gene and Ebert didn't realize they were supposed to be in this movie, but then were cut. Then they would have given it 2 thumbs down.
Oh, yeah.
Lucky.
The banana yellow suit that Jim Carrey wears is based on a suit which his mother made for him for his first attempt at a stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the iconic suit. It's not the first thing he wears in the movie, but it's the one we all remember.
It took 4 hours to apply the mask.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That's not too bad.
Yeah, if he's sick, he could just sit down in that chair and just, like, watch old people sitcoms while it's done, you know?
Jim Carrey was attracted to the project because he's a huge fan of cartoons.
Much like his character.
It was Jim Carrey's idea to have the mask blow a smoke heart and snort an arrow through it. So he's improvising a lot.
I mean, the CG people have to do that too, though. Right?
Yes, I know, but he's just like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah, he's just like blowing smoke. He's like, all right, let the editors know that's going to be a smoke and a heart.
This was first of over 10 Jim Carrey movies to reach 100 million domestically at the box office.
Well, Sonic. It's less impressive, though, because of inflation.
Years before Son of the Mask, there were at some point plans for The Mask 2, but that sequel was canceled after Jim Carrey declined to reprise his role. There was even a contest from Nintendo Power magazine where first prize was a walk-on role in that movie. In their final issue, they issued an apology to the winner of that contest. I
find it interesting that Jim Carrey did not want to do a sequel.
Yeah, he's doing a sequel like when he's filming. As this movie's coming out, he's already doing a sequel to Ace Ventura.
So maybe that's what. Maybe like that gave him a bad taste in his mouth, and he's like, "This isn't really working.
Yeah,
we should have just like let it be its one little hidden gem thing and moved on."
Yeah.
Where Eddie's like, "Well, if you pay me enough, I guess."
Yeah. I've made movies for about a decade now. I'm kind of bored of this.
Yeah.
I need more money.
Like Jim Carrey's in a position. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess he's doing 3 movies in 1 year and is clearly a big star, so he feels in position where he can turn down roles. But it just seems like easy money. So like, what did Jim really want out of it? Eddie's like, if you pay me enough, I'll do whatever crap you give me. I'll go and tell everybody it's crap, but I'll do it. But Jim's just like, no. Is this like comedic integrity or like what really is behind that decision? I find it quite fascinating. He wouldn't want to do it like just right out of the gate.
Yeah. I don't know. The movie made so much money. And like, this is back before they were like, Hollywood had true sequel. Like, I guess it was like just starting up in the 90s with a sequelitis thing.
I feel like the 80s had a lot of
sequels.
The 80s? I do feel like
they
that,
were
yeah.
Just... Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, it was, I guess he was just like, let's put this one's good. Maybe he didn't want to work with Chuck Russell again. I don't know.
You get a new director. He's Jim Carrey. He gets to call the shots at this point. That's the thing, right? Like, Jim, this movie could be whatever you actually want it to be. Like, you get to call the shots now. You're in Eddie mode.
Go grab Tom Shadyac. I'm sure he will do several movies with you.
I'm not upset that he doesn't want to do a Mass sequel. I'm not upset the world doesn't have a Mass sequel because it did and it sucked. But
yeah, we got it.
I'm just impressed that it seemed like such a layup. That's what I was wondering as I was watching this movie. I'm like, how is this movie not gotten a sequel or been remade? Like, it seems like it'd be a surefire thing. And I go, maybe the movie didn't make a lot of money. And I go, no, that doesn't sound right. I remember everybody, all the fucking kids on the elementary school playground would not stop quoting this movie.
Here you go. Cameron Diaz's singing voice in the film was dubbed by Susan Boyd. So
we get a real voice in My Best Friend's Wedding.
Yes.
Okay, well.
And as I was saying previously, most of Jim Carrey's lines as the Mask were ad-libbed.
Do you know did he read the comics at all? Did he like what kind of things would this Mask guy say? Does he like to smoke? Is he going smoking a lot?
I don't think Carrey cared about the comic because I'm reading here that he was just this movie. As soon as Jim Carrey was attached because of the like success he was having from
In Living Color,
they're like, hey, okay, we got like a ringer here. Let him do his thing. If he has ideas, let him just run with it.
And by this point, clearly it had stopped being the weird drama thing.
Yeah,
and it moved.
This is now a Jim Carrey
not a
vehicle.
horror film, and is now just pure slapstick. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, if I'm that comic author, I'm like, how did we get here? Todd McFarlane's like, wait, why is Spawn singing and dancing in this? Why is he palling around with Susan Sarandon? Like, how did this movie happen? What are we doing?
Who's Steady Eddie? Was that his friend?
I don't remember his friend's name. I think it was like Charlie.
Oh, okay. It says Chris Elliott was considered for the role of Steady Eddie.
Maybe that's one of the burglar people.
Yeah, I'm looking up who Steady Eddie is.
Speaking of, like, Jim Carrey wears the mask and like hangs out outside and like some people want to like rob him. If I'm like a mugger, I am not going for the tall weirdo with the green mask. I'll let that guy walk by. I'm not getting involved in that.
Yeah, and then with a dog. The dog's great. That was a very well-trained dog.
We got Ben Stein.
Yep.
As the mask expert, as seen on The Drew Carey Show. Where he's Drew Carey's coma heavenly guide.
It's funny.
And then like the the plot too did feel like the product of many drafts because they're really trying to shoehorn in like Jim Carrey. We're suspicious of his character for some drama. When they're like, we could definitely arrest him now. His fingerprints are all over the bank. Yeah, he works there, you idiots. Of course it would be. He's touching everything there. That's his job. Yeah, there's even an arc. Like, this movie, Ace Ventura is just, like, doing a thing. It's got a plot mostly for the sake of jokes.
Yep.
It just wants to tell jokes for 90 minutes, and they have to throw a plot in there. This movie's like, you'd see him do a little bit of his yes man kind of thing, where, like, he's a little meek. He's afraid to do anything, and then he, like, learns to stand up for himself.
Wow.
Like the
Yes, man. We haven't even covered that yet.
Yeah. The mask brings out, like, his id.
Yep.
Right? So, like, these things he's been repressing, and he, like, learns that it's okay to be those things. Like, I don't know, there is a journey here. It's a more screenplayable screenplay. But normally I don't know.
Screenplayable screenplay.
Yeah, there you go.
Dog, I love
Some
it.
wise words there. Oh, the Adam Sandler pool teacher pops in. The Adam Sandler friend that plays the pool teacher in Community. Who's this guy?
Blake Clark.
Blake Clark, he pops in for 2 seconds. Did you catch him?
You remind me.
That's like the reporter lady's boss.
Okay.
Remember? And he's like, hey, we got to lead on this thing. And she goes, oh, let me see that. And you're like, oh, it's because she has a crush on Jim. She wants to, like, follow up. And it's like, oh, no, you want to just capture him. Okay. Don't know where that came from. Don't know how she got involved in the mob.
Yeah. Oh, brother. Yeah, no,
the bad guy.
What'd you think of the villain? Yeah, I was going to say.
When he puts on his mask, he looks like that R.L. Stein book. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, the mask. The haunted mask.
The haunted mask, yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly like it was.
It does.
Somebody stole something from somebody. That's all I'll say about that.
Somebody stole something from somebody.
At first, I thought, like, this seems oddly busy. Like, your mob villain is actually an underling for a different mob guy that he's trying to out-mob. Is that, like, a little too busy when I'm here mostly to just see Jim Carrey do silly Jim Carrey things? Yeah. But then I thought, well, you didn't know this was a Jim Carrey vehicle at first because, like, he wasn't a movie star yet. But two, I'm like, well, I guess it keeps him from being, like, just some boring mob villain. Like, that could have easily been that run-of-the-mill kind of, like, maha, the city's mine, maha. So it gave, like, him something to do, that character, that was independent of the mask, and the mask just was the thing stopping him. It's almost like you're doing the reversed hero's journey with him. So I guess, again, that's just a little more thought put into this thing that could have really just been a big mess from the wild departure from early drafts it took. So I guess I'm okay with it. Who's that guy, though?
The villain?
Yeah, who seemed to really want to be the bad guy from Blue Velvet. Not that one, but the other one. The singing one.
Oh, Dean Stockwell?
Yeah, he seemed to really want to be 90s Italian Dean Stockwell.
So you're talking to, is it Peter Green? Yeah. Oh, he's in Pulp. Oh. He plays Zed in Pulp Fiction. Same year. What a year for that guy. Wow. And then he really does not do much.
Now, the mask it wasn't his big break, huh? Just Jim's and I guess Cameron's.
Yeah, he still works. He looks like a C tier version of what's his name from RoboCop? Who's RoboCop? Come on, help me out.
I don't remember.
Oh, come on, rude. Peter Weller.
McMurphy.
He looks like a C tier Peter Weller. Ooh, what happened to Peter Weller? Is he okay? Oh, he's just old.
Gotta be old.
You're allowed to look that old, Peter Weller. You're 77. Sorry.
He was old in the 90s. I'm not surprised. He's old now.
Oh, wow, what a fox when he was younger. He's got such a jaw. Yeah, so Peter Green. He is most known for playing Dorian Tyrell in The Mask and in Pulp Fiction, in which he portrayed Zed, a sadistic security guard, rapist, and serial killer who serves as the antagonist in the film. He's kind of typecast.
Yeah, he's most known for 1 year in his whole career.
Kind of, yeah.
And that's not where you want to be.
That was his big year.
That's the Gutenberg problem.
He's like the other movie that I've heard of that he's been in was Training Day, where he plays Detective Jeff. After that, there were 2 War of the Worlds that came out in 2005. Like, someone else was like, hey, I know there's a Steven Spielberg version of this with Tom Cruise, but I'm going to make my own version. And it's going to be way more, like, faithful.
I mean, if you wanted to do that, just change the title. You're not beating Spielberg.
Oh, well, he did. He changed it to H.G. Wells's War of the Worlds.
That title smacks of direct-to-video film. Is it?
I feel like it has to be. Yeah, direct-to-DVD independent fantasy horror film. Mm-hmm. Oh, Japanese-American. C. Thomas Howell, Jake Busey, and Peter Green are your headliners.
Jake Busey?
Yep.
Not G. Busey.
For the Sci-Fi Channel. Oh my God, it came out almost the same weekend. It came out the weekend before.
I kind of admire that. They're just like,
that's ballsy.
Do you think we can trick them? Everybody's like, oh, wow, it's already on TV. Let me go watch it.
How dare they?
I'm into that. Go for it. Go for it, Sci-Fi Channel. Definitely. Live it up.
Wait, it might even come out the same weekend. Hold on.
Awesome. No, do it. Do it all, my friend.
So, yeah, that came out on the Sci-Fi Channel on June 28th. Oh, okay. So that came out on Thursday, and on Friday, June 29th, Steven Spielberg releases War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. Wow.
God, I hope that paid off for sci-fi. I truly, truly do. I admire it. I so do.
Well, that movie, the Steven Spielberg movie, was made for a budget of $132 and made $603.
$603. Wow.
$603 million. Sorry, I'm a little sick still.
You know why? It got that bump from the Sci-Fi Channel. They were like, oh, shit, there's a new Steven Spielberg movie coming out. We got to watch that. If it's anything as good as this sci-fi original film, it's going to be great. All right, so had you seen... Like, when was the last time you've seen The Mask? Have you seen it before?
Yeah, I watched it, like, 2 years ago, and then I was like, not my bag. And then this time I liked it a tiny bit more because I got to see Carrey's origin story. So I'm like, I appreciate it a little bit more, but still not my thing.
I'm a little annoyed because Tubi was heavily advertising this movie for like the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And then right as we're ready to get to it, they're like, oh, sorry, not here anymore. And I go, where? Well, then where? Who took it back? Like, why isn't it streaming anywhere?
So what was the studio behind this? I keep forgetting.
New Line. So who owns New Line? Is that a Paramount thing? Who bought New Line? New Line doesn't exist anymore, right? It's like a independent producing arm for some studio.
Who the hell owns New Line now? Warner Brothers. You're right.
Okay.
Since 2008, New Line was on such a fucking run though, because of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Nightmare on Elm Street helped build it. Evil Dead. Evil Dead's their first. It's a co-production with Warner Brothers. Dumb and Dumber is also a New Line movie. Universal Pictures. New Line does Austin Powers, Blade, Rush Hour, Final Destination, Lord of the Rings. And then they're just bought. And it's done. Wow. I did not know the Lord of the Rings made $1.1 billion. The third one did. The other two never crossed $1 billion.
That's interesting. Well, good. Movie tickets were a lot cheaper back then.
It's just 2 years since the first one.
Yeah, no, but then I
it's a
guess I'm not
right?
surprised, right? Like at that point, everybody wanted to see the ending.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Like, even though it is how long? How long is it?
Yeah, it's super long. And it doesn't and there's like 20 extra minutes that felt like just dragged at the very end.
It was like a half hour that was like, why is this not ending?
Just kept going, and he's singing a song, and there's a bow. I was like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Do you know the budget on the third Lord of the Rings?
No.
$94 million.
Oh, wow. Whoa, so much less than Red Notice. How crazy. Oh, my goodness.
So good still. Yeah, they were all split. I guess the budget for the three of them was probably $300 million or like a little under there, but that's for 3 movies.
That's for 3 movies.
3+ hour movies.
Yeah, that's 9 hours of film versus your $200 million for kind of 2 hours of Red Notice. That God was terrible.
Kind of 2 hours.
This movie, The Mask, that we're talking about, had some interesting credits I wanted to point out. 1, a moth puppeteer. What would that mean? What would that be? I don't even remember there being a moth.
Me neither.
Is that like some scene that got cut out? Who's to say?
The Moth Puppeteer. Why am I not remembering that?
And special thanks went to Harold Ramis and Frank Darabont.
Oh,
how do you think they got involved in this?
Well, Carrey's going to be working with Frank Darabont in The Majestic, but that is like several years away.
That's a while away.
I think that's the only time he's worked with them. Just to note, The Mask, to this day, is still the 13th highest grossing New Line co-production.
I'm sure New Line's very proud of that record.
Well, they've got other movies like San Andreas is number 8.
Ugh.
It was number 7.
Also, ugh.
And then the other ones that are above are all the Lord of the Rings, Hobbit movies.
Yeah. What are your this movie's just met to you?
Yeah, it wasn't really my thing.
I would say it's met to me too, but Ace Ventura was a little met as well. So I'm like, which met do I prefer?
Yeah, I'd prefer Ace Ventura just because I like the animals and I like a couple of the jokes in that movie.
Yeah, it's
like the part where he's opening and closing the door when he's screaming to show that you can't hear anything. That always works on me.
It seems like I should like Ace Ventura more too, based on things that I have liked in the past. I'm just surprised why I'm uncertain. I guess I like bits of both of these. I don't know. To be clear, I didn't laugh at either film. I want to be clear on that. Like, I'm not there being like, Mask.
Oh yeah,
funny.
I didn't literally laugh at The Mask.
I'm amused at both of them. I go like, that's amusing. This is a amusing scene. I'm not LOLing, as the kids would say, you know?
Do they still say it?
Probably. Do your kids, Julian, texting people like LOL?
Does my 4-year-old son text everybody LOL? No, he does not.
No, but does he say it in real life? Because some of the kids do that, and that's annoying.
No, he does not.
LOL, Daddy. No, Julian, you got to just laugh. Just really laugh.
I wish when we were I didn't know that there was a Dumb and Dumber TV series. Now I wish, because we just covered the second movie that has a TV series that is based on one of his movies. I wish we watched at least like an episode of each one of them. I'm definitely going to at least watch one episode of the Dumb and Dumber animated series if I can find it. Produced by Hanna-Barbera.
I have to imagine it's somewhere in the YouTube cesspool.
Oh,
just hiding.
I'll look for it right now.
Yeah.
So you got Last Looks?
Last Looks. Why does Jim Carrey do this movie? Well, we kind of found out. His agent's like, we got to do this. Come on. You got to get a career going here. It's your chance. He must have already shot, though, Ace Ventura, right? Or I guess this one would need more time in post.
He might.
Of all
so
the
he's definitely
animating.
shooting Dumb and Dumber at this time, because that's how he gets a higher quote on the...
on Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah. And so then he, maybe like right after Dumb and Dumber, he's like, maybe right after the summer, he's shooting Ace Ventura 2.
So Dumb and Dumber does not come out in 1994?
Yes, no, it comes out in December. He has February, July, and December.
Okay, but nobody knows these other two movies are going to be huge hits, right? When he gets Dumb and Dumber, or?
Well, when Dumb and Dumber is in production, in July.
And it comes out in December? Wow.
And it comes out in December.
That's some Clint Eastwood turnaround there.
That's how I believe it worked out.
Okay, well, that makes sense then. I guess that's not like a hard movie to edit, right? You're just cutting things together.
Yep. I really haven't seen that movie in so long, and I don't remember really a single
You're not doing action stuff like Ace Ventura. You're not doing animation like this movie. I guess you could turn it around.
It's the Farrellies, so...
With Cameron Diaz. No, that's a different Farrelly movie.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a smaller budget than...
Either of the other movies?
No, just The Mask.
Okay. Well, The Mask would need a big budget.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you more about that next week. Oh, wow.
Okay, that sounds
Some
good.
Stuff right here. Whew.
Yeah, why does he do this movie? Because we're obviously talking about him being in Eddie territory now that these movies are made, but he wasn't when they were, and he hadn't been offered a movie role in what seemed to be 5 years. So take him to the bank, and indeed he did. Good work, Jim. You made it work.
Get that bag.
Get that bag. What are your last looks, Joe?
Good job, Jim, securing the bag. I don't know. He's working really hard for it. Like, he's really just throwing his face in every direction that he can.
And this one's hard too, because he's got a big fucking mask on his face most of the time.
Yeah.
And he's still making all the facial expressions come out.
And I can't wait to get into the detail where we find out that Jim Carrey is super claustrophobic and doesn't like stuff on his face. So, That'll be fun to talk about.
Professional, yes. Oh, no wonder you wouldn't want to do the mask too then.
But then you know what he did? The fucking Grinch!
Yeah. The Grinch.
The Grinch.
The Grinch. That was that trailer, right? Every trailer.
Yeah, Ellie likes to say that a lot.
Yeah. That bell means we're doing our title fight sequence. Eddie's getting tired.
Oof.
Eddie tried one last
Eddie's sleeping
Beverly
over.
Hills Cop 3 swing at Jim to send him down for good. Misses out of exhaustion. And Jim's like putting some green paint on this, and he goes, "Let's see you stop me, Eddie." And boom! Gets a good jaw hit right there on Eddie. Yes, Jim Carrey ready to take over this round. We'll see how the rest of it goes. Coming up soon. Are we doing a Jim again next week?
We are doing Jim next week, but I didn't know that Eddie had a movie in 95, so we will have a split between the Carreys now. I thought Eddie didn't have a movie till 96. He's slowing down, though. Eddie's definitely slowing down already. Fun. All right.
All right, well, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Cleany Boppers. Bop them good. Bop them smellies good. I'd like to thank Lev Van Rensselaer for minding those audio boards and keeping the sound so slippery smooth. I'd like to thank my co-host Joe Vekeman for stopping by.
Thank you.
And I am your host, Patrick Skeyhill. You can find my features, documentaries, short films, video essays, animations, behind-the-scenes footage, and so much more at QuixoticUnited.com and social media, presumably with a similar-sounding name. Thank you all for listening. Joe, say goodnight.
Good night.
Well, there's one last thing I got to sing about. Open up wide and really shout. Whoa, look out! This is the mask smoking.
Well, I was not feeling well on Saturday, Joe.
I'm sorry.
So I just kind of vegged on the couch and took a perusal along the the middle-aged people's channel, Rewind TV, and they do like 2-hour blocks of various shows. I went through a cavalcade of forgotten 90s sitcoms that did like their 4-year stint to get syndication numbers and immediately were taken off. They were like limped along the finish line.
Excellent.
I can remind you of Caroline in the City.
Oh, yes.
Leah Thompson, yeah. Suddenly Susan with Brooke Shields.
What makes her suddenly Susan?
Because her, if I'm remembering correctly, she was like it was like the Mary Tyler Moore Show. She was just about to get married and then like the dude leaves her and now she was like, well, I was Susan something because it was her father's last name. And then I was Susan something because she was about to get married. But now I'm just Susan. I have no identity anymore because there's not a man in my life. So I got to figure this shit out now.
Okay.
There's Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and then it was Just Shoot Me, and then it was Different Strokes. But I was given a special treat with Different Strokes because I got the 2-part pedophile episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Everyone's most
favorite
requested.
TV moment, and then it's got the psycho thing where at the end for like 6 minutes they just like the police officer explains how pedophiles work and common misunderstandings, and it's the most written thing on TV.
Lovely.
And then after that it was the thing I sent you. Welcome Back, Kotter. With John Travolta.
Hold on.
And he goes, up your nose with a rubber hose. Ooh.
Oh,
And then it was, what did I fall asleep to? It was, Heads of the Class. No, I'm sorry. Then it was paid programming. That's how long I was on the middle-aged people channel for.
Wow.
That's their Smash Weekend Live. They did something, they had the same, like, 2-hour blocks of stuff on Sunday, too, but it was different shows, and they weren't as good. It was like Dear John and...
Dear John.
Not that Suddenly Susan and... Carol, these shows aren't great, but they're serviceable, I would say.
Wow.
They do the job.
Yeah, I guess. I have no fond memories of any of those shows.
Suddenly Susan in particular seemed aggressively inoffensive. It just is like there.
Yeah.
Doesn't have really any personality or jokes, but it is there.
Sounds like a show that would come on now.
It's exactly feels like if Brooke Shields were somebody that were still relevant, I would not be surprised to see the show on.
Yeah. That was a sharp stick in the gut.
It was, that's how I want to feel when I'm sick, right? Just like let that just wash over me.
Sure.
These middle-aged people sitcoms.
Oh, wait, you were sick too this weekend?
That's what I say. Saturday I wasn't feeling well, so I couldn't really do much beyond TV
sick
things.
brothers right here.
Hey, look at us.
I was sick too. I had to work all weekend though. I didn't get to watch anything. I watched this.
You watched The Mask, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, I watched The Substance on Friday, but we'll talk about that some other time.
We'll talk about that when we do the Demi Moore series.
You would. You would. I love it.
All right. Let me take the sip of the water, and we'll go.
Mm-hmm.